He does have a fairly solid Zarya, but a lot of the nuances are lost when you sub that person in, because bubble usage and bubble management is a big thing. Graviton usage is another big thing. But these things, they don't matter too much at the end of the day when you have the hit scan who comes in and can play like this. We also have Daned on the Sombra as well, so this is basically a hyper-aggressive comp from British Hurricane that kind of almost needs them to get the Sombra to that EMP quickly. Wow, there's a lot of cleave coming through.
Yeah, you highlighted it right at the beginning of the series, Blank. Numlock able to just jump in there and catch him nearly at 50% ult charge already, and there's barely been an engagement. Sparker looking pretty similar. Bob's going to be joining us. It's going to become a 7v6 very quickly. And if you can pop Lilbo like that, it's going to come even quicker. Also, the D-Mech just about to come in. Mini will keep Zappis up a little bit longer. Now he's getting some healing from his team, but the D-Mech, it comes in all the same. Dynamite in the room as well. Just so much damage coming out. Zappis Coalescence can barely keep it up, and the Bob's in there. It's going to flush him out into the firing lines, but Milky Man's found Danid on the back line, so they are starting to come back into this, as well as a D-Mech onto Haftycool. They've got control of it. It looked so disastrous for Gigantti to begin with, and now they're starting to take control away from Hurricane as they pick up Haftycool and guarantee that kill. Yofi's down. There's no healers for them left now. The Bucket's been dropped as well. Under all the circumstances, relatively fast take there for Gigantti.
Yeah, it was great. It was great from Hurricane. The way they played it, obviously, they got the Dynamite through and then the Cleave on top of that. It's a lot of damage coming out from the Monkey and the Ashe. Unfortunately, Team Gigantti take massive advantage of it with the extra healing they have from the Moira and this free composition in all. Get into position and then stay there and slowly grind away at British Hurricane. They didn't get the EMP in time, but now they have it.
EMP comes in beautifully for point B. Should shut down any momentum play, but Gigantti are playing it slow until Milky Man gets picked off by Docbot, throwing those hands out with the Zenyatta, as Team Gigantti are just going to have to retreat on this one, but it's not a total loss. They still have 6 minutes and 12 seconds to play with.
And see, the major problem with Volskaya and why point B is so difficult to attack is because it's so far to the point you have to move through effectively 2 chokes, and in those choke points, Haftycool can get a lot of work done towards the barrage, so by the time you get to the point, you have that to deal with.
Bucket just forcing the backline. Primal Rage being used on him. Gets the Transcendence out nice and early, but it does now free up Davin to use a Graviton Surge. Look, the rest of the Hurricane grouped together in this one. Numlock still chasing down, trying to get some extra damage. Visibility hacked up. Sparker gets killed with the Dynamite, taking out David. If he can just compete with him, like, when we take out his Zarya, we're out having to play Zarya himself. He's getting a lot of value here, because I think he loses that matchup.
Absolutely. Dan is almost towards another EMP because they made that fight last so long. And the best thing about this comp is that you talked about before is that can Davin find an effective Graviton target? Everyone's playing all over the place at the moment. It's very difficult to find anyone. So specifically the person you're probably going to see get locked down is Numlocked in the front line. Once that big main tank's out of the way, cannot create as much space as before, and British Hurricane could just fall. But EMP is going to be super important, so they're probably saving it for that moment when it does come through.
You're going to send that self-destruct in nice and early, looking to get in position. Haftycool taken out of the sky. Hurricane are going to have to hold on to this EMP. They probably want to combo it with that all-important ultimate. There's that Graviton Surge used off to the side. Davin going down low. He was the one losing HP in that engagement, not his intended target. Yofi has had to pop the Valkyrie to keep everyone up, and Bucket's now got that Transcendence. Ult across the board. Spark's going to be the first one to throw it in. Gets that Bob out on the field to take out Davin, as Bucket's just going to shut down Little Bo's movement. They burn through 2 minutes of this time bank, and they need to burn through the rest.
And still 4 ultimates remaining for British Hurricane, because they didn't have to use much. Davin, like I said before, he wanted to find that grab onto Numlock, but Numlock slips away, a bit of a snake there, gets out pretty much unscathed, and with that reduced Graviton radius, obviously from a couple of patches ago, it won't catch you if you lob it into a small room like that. Nice hack onto Lilbo, gives a lot more time for Numlock to get away with no speed boost afterwards to basically follow up on that. But British Hurricane with 4 minutes 4, they're looking at a lot longer to hold here, but Team Gigantti, they now have that nano boost online, can launch onto Milky Man, and can create a bit of a ruckus in the back line.
He got the definitive info as well that Lilbo has the sound barrier, so they're going to be looking out for that one. Make sure he's either caught or the EMP comes in after that's forced out. Lilbo obviously going to stay with the rest of the team. Nano boost committed to Milky Man on the back line. He's just going to disrupt all the supports here. Barrage being committed to take him out. Davin will still find him as he cleaves through Haftycool and denies the resurrection by shutting down Yofi as well. Danid now has to move around. He's got an EMP, but he's going to have to commit to it in an advantageous position. Lilbo escapes the EMP, drops the sound barrier on top, but it was partially unnecessary because Hurricane is still coming out of spawn, and they're going to be stuck there with the Graviton Surge. You got one person competing. It's only Numlock to get through. The Transcendence coming out as well. They're just looking for the stall game now. They can't retake this point.
Yeah, it's just clean up now. Danhead locks it down for a little short while, and now the bomb will clear any stragglers that try and get into the point. Havoc goes down, and that's round one is completing. And it will be Team Gigantti taking that one, despite British Hurricane having so many tools to work with. And I think that a lot of that comes down to the fact that Gigantti now finally identified that issue, is that they have to punish this team. They have to see where members are out of position. And specifically here, it's Danhead out of position on the Sombra. They immediately shut him down, put him into a position where he's not able to get that really good EMP angle that he was looking for, forced to use it a little bit later on, where it doesn't have as much impact because there's not many members still alive on British Hurricane to follow up, and Team Gigantti just push it on in, despite Numlock doing a very good job in the backline to disrupt both healers, using that Winston bubble to stop any of those darts going through to the team in the front line from the Ana. So I think British Hurricane played that pretty well. I think they could have played it a little bit quicker, and I think they were grasping for a little bit more time than they were maybe owed.
Yeah, well, they burnt through half of the time bank, or at least over the half of the time bank they had moving into point B. So not a total loss there. No. Does kind of become a redemption on that round, let down by a lackluster point A when you look at how the defense worked out for them. But now they have to go on the offense. They're not going to go for anything too wacky. Neither are Gigantti. We're just going to go for a standard Goats v Goats matchup. And this is where we're going to see Sparker go up against Davin. And I really keep coming back to this matchup because I do think it's important to know, if Sparker can have an A1 game in this matchup, then he's going to be able to stand up to one of the best Zaryas in the region, Davin. Then this is how Hurricane can just have a definitive edge over everything. Yeah,
absolutely. I think this is a big matchup definitely to look out for. Is Sparker versus Davin, and I think the majority of the issues that Gigantti had on Blizzard World and Nepal was the fact that Sooner is this massively high-tempo Zarya. It's very difficult to deal with him when he's lobbing out grabs every other second.
Interesting fight coming in for Hurricane early. They took a lot of damage just getting through that choke, and it's usually the pattern that comes out here. Numlock has to contend with Milky Man's Winston instead. They want that mobile composition to move around territory should there have been any high ground advantage coming in for Hurricane, but they're going to play it low to the ground, keep themselves there. Milky Man, he's putting down it so low to the ground. He's 6 feet under in the dirt right now, and Hurricane is still on the point, going to maintain this one as Milky Man looking to get some charge off here, build towards that Primal Rage with the help of the bubble. They're going to keep contesting the point. They've given up over 50%. Going to nearly get that second tick as Hafikul comes in for the kill onto Zappe, and the cleave damage coming in from Milky Man. Just burning multiple members. The kills are going to come in from Gigantti because they sweep round afterwards. Only one tick of progress is going to be saved here.
And that's a great beginning fight for Team Gigantti because now they have some ultimates online to prevent the next ones coming through, right? British Hurricane, sure, Sparker got towards his Graviton, Bocket has his Transcendence, but the big thing for me is the fact that because they're not playing the Winston, they're having difficulty removing Team Gigantti from this high ground at the moment. Hafikul tried to do it before, but all he managed to do was knock Zappis down, and Zappis obviously has boosters, so he just gets back up there again. You can expect Team Gigantti here to play it a little bit slower and try and get as much value out of this Graviton as possible.
Sparker's going to have one to match what Davin's going to be able to throw in a second. They're all locked in that tiny little bunker, trying to build up towards the resources and get out onto this point. He's going to emerge out there. Numlock obviously has to lead the charge with that shield. Shatters, and it does catch Visibility on the back line. I just caught that out of camera there. Charge follows up, immediately removes him. Graviton Surge being committed afterwards. Milky Man's locked down, nowhere to go. He can't abuse the low cooldown on the jump in Primal Rage as he's locked in the one position to be burned down by the rest of the team. Danhead then going to clean up. They used 2 ultimates to make that happen. Sorry, 3. Rally, Graviton Surge, and Earth Shatter. Gigantti have 4 in the bank to shut down the momentum play to point B.
I just don't think Facility was expecting that at all.
It was like, max range.
Yeah, he was like, this hit me? And then Numlock immediately capitalized on it. I think that's what I love about this guy, is the fact that as soon as he sees an opening, he's immediately on it. Like, he charged on that almost the frame after Facility went down to the ground. Team Gigantti just don't have anything else available to them to stop that push. And I really am about that Graviton that Sparker threw out. Yeah. It locks down Milky Man. It stops him from jumping around and creating a lot of havoc. And then they're able to kill him shortly afterwards. Now British Hurricane, sure, they have this Diva Bomb, but this next fight is just about removing as much as possible from Gigantti.
Almost simultaneous bombs up in the air. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Hurricane. And the Transcendence is going to come out nice and early, as well as the sound barrier from Yofi. I think a lot of that may have been denied there. No shielding came out onto the rest of Hurricane, so it may have been a case of someone blocking it out. He may have had to use it just to keep himself alive, but they're on the point nonetheless. Going to look and burn through as Sparker moves towards this Graviton Surge. Milky Man press forward. No blockage there. Sound barrier being committed by Lilbo as they're locked in this tight space, but they can't get the kills. There's the charge from Milky Man. Boots away to move out the line of ring into the firing line of Numlock to go in with a charge of his own as Bocky will take out Davin. D-Mech for Happy Cool. They're going to throw it down, and Milky Man isolated again by that shatter and completely shut down. 1/3 of the pie being taken already, looking for the second one, and now they're knocking at the victory's door. They have to go for 4 stalls, stagger, and buying time, but Happy Cool's there to clean them up and make sure they don't get anything done, and Davin's stall on the Wrecking Ball will be caught down shortly. Despite a slightly longer point A hold, they come in with a more sizable time bank for the next attempt.
Comes down to Numlock once again. He's hitting these huge shadows very consistently as well, and he's blocking out. And I think Milky Man seems to be being pushed to the brink right now. And a lot of times when you push Milky Man to the brink, he starts doing questionable things like shattering in situations where maybe he wouldn't do before, or dropping shield where he shouldn't do. And really, Numlock's just taking complete advantage of that. Numlock has this weird style where he'll go from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds, and it's very difficult to contend with that, because Team Gigantti, they want to punish the mistakes, yeah, but how can you be sure that Numlock isn't just going to suddenly drop a shatter on you? He is truly the shockwave on the side of British Hurricane, and he's shutting down a lot of these aggressive pushes from Team Gigantti. It's just a lot to deal with.
Big Brain Barton might not be a meme. It might actually be true.
Actually true.
Alternatively, I will still entertain the idea that he's not quite sure what he's doing. He's doing it randomly, so they can't actually figure out what he's going to do as well. I'll entertain that idea, but won't guarantee
Unpredictable.
it. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want to do. How can the enemy team work out what you're doing if you don't even know yourselves?
What was there's a quote, isn't it? The #1 swordsman isn't afraid of the #2 swordsman. He's afraid of the swordsman who doesn't know what he's doing.
Impossible to react to it at a competitive level. British Hurricane on the defense again, going for a similar composition, and in the exact same spot that happened on the last rollout from Gigantti, they just like go ahead and zap down and remind him, no, we know you're there, there's no trickery here. As they emerge through that choke, and they're going to go in through this slow parachute, go through the walkway. Numlock will probably try and get some free charge off there. Doesn't have the jump cooldown to get as much, so he's going to be much slower to that time of race this next fight.
British Hurricane, last time, their major issue was that Dana didn't get the Sombra ultimate on time. That is unfortunate because you just go down.
But Sparker finds Lilbo, so it does kill some of the momentum, and Sparker has to reposition using the coach gun to keep himself up in the air. This facility losing a lot of HP, with Davin still going to find Numlocked here. So we were talking about fast age takes. We're going to see more of the same here as Gigantti are just cleaning up Hurricane. He didn't get rid of Yofi until now, so Numlock will have the luxury of a second life. The rest of them are just going to be shut down here. Fast capture, point A, Team Gigantti move on to B.
It's probably the worst map for Lilbo to go down first here as well, because once Team Gigantti on the point, they no longer really need that speed boost. Sure, 3-3 is a very slow composition all in all, but once it is set on the point down there, once it's set on the point, it is set on the point, and it can do its thing. So they don't really need Lilbo in there other than the boops and the healing, so they're able just to out-sustain them. Now they come into second point, they can open this one up with Coalescence, potentially take down Yofi or Happy Cool in the sky with the Coalescence, pressure them out, and then take point and maybe take this because they just have nothing to do with it, but Bucket just popping up.
Absolutely, and Zappe got hacked straight away, so he can't even get a healing orb out to help his team. Sparkle will then burn him down with the dynamite, sends Bob onto the point. This is going to be shutting it down, but Davin trying to bring it back, putting the team on his back as he takes out Numlocked and Bucket. Going to remove them quite quickly, but they have to slow it all down. Yofi's just going to bring him back, and they have spawn advantage, so they're going to kill any members of Gigantti, of Hurricane. They're going to have to do it quite quickly.
Yeah, Gigantti are pretty trapped right now. They maybe need to disengage as quickly as possible. Danad, however, has the EMP. Won't need to use it, but we'll be able to use it for the next time. But it's getting to dangerous time bank zone right now. It's 1 minute 28. This is round about 2 fights if Team Gigantti are quick. So potentially next fight, you try and win it with the Barrage barrage EMP, but then you don't have too much to sustain through the next one. Davin makes a switch over to the McCree. He is very good on this McCree, let me tell you that. Now, sleep goes around the Sparker, but they just wake him up. That's unfortunately could have maybe capitalized on it. But now, British Hurricane, there doesn't seem to be too much time remaining now, Tridd. The EMP is getting scarier and scarier by the seconds.
Axe out Zappe, no risk of sleep. He can't even use the nano boost he's just acquired for himself. Self-destruct over the top, does clear some space, but not much progress being made. As expected, Bob makes a return to the point, 50 seconds remaining. Milky Man popped the Primal Rage already. They now have the nano boost available to top someone else up and it starts getting low. Still, in the pocket of British Hurricane, they have the EMP Barrage combo. Nano Boost getting committed to Winston as expected. Milky Man on the back line, and Happy might just have to burn him out here. Gonna end up killing himself, unable to get the damage out. Discord was placed to try and make it work, but they're now not going to get value as the EMP also came in from Danid, not to being much effect anyway. David will get the 2-tap, take him out. Sparkle not able to compete. Yovi goes down before the res can come in. Bocket has the Transcendence, might have to pop it just to get to the point to contest. And they're trying to get there. Here's the Deadeye. Anyone who tries to stay up, he might outlast the duration. Immediately pulls the trigger when it comes in. It's stall tactics from Hurricane. They're trying to push it out into overtime. They have to keep going to make that happen though. 6 seconds remaining. This is the play here. And they might have done enough here with the Wrecking Ball. A couple of seconds remaining. They're going to do it in overtime. Yes! They forced it out. Meaning this is the final attempt from Gigantti. As long as Hurricane can finish with at least 1 minute in the time bank. If they do that, Blank, they just win the series now because they cannot accept a draw on this map to stay up in the series.
No, that's super unfortunate though for Team Gigantti. They were so close to completing it, and that Transcendence from Bocket arguably just secures this map for them potentially because he creates so much time on the point. He chooses not to leave it either. He knows if he leaves the point, they will tick it up. So he sacrifices his life for the cause for British Hurricane, and now 4 minutes to take 2 points with a little bit time remaining as well as, so they can get that attack onto point A. But like you said before, it doesn't really matter because a draw is unacceptable. Team Gigantti have to hold point B.
If they just give it up, if they can at least force it down to 59 seconds, they get another attempt and they can still win Volskaya, keep the series alive for them, and push themselves in an advantageous position to try and get that first round bye, assuming the results of their Week 7 match goes in their favor. Like I said, that's what the battle is in the top 3. It's Angry Titans, Hurricane, Gigantti, all vying for a chance to just go straight to the semifinals. 2 series in your playoffs. You might get away with the big win off the back of it as well. I'm going to take it slow now. 4 minutes 19. Ready for British Hurricane as they move on to the offense. And it's the same rollout they went with last attempt. Yeah,
Team Gigantti, they're coming out with Milky Man on the right now instead of the Winston. So it looks like they want to hold this one with pretty much vanilla goats. And this is going to be all down to Davin right now, because if they lose this matchup versus Sparker, who is their hit scan specialist, not their Zarya specialist, it will be pretty unfortunate indeed. So now you can see British Hurricane, they're backing up. We don't know if they're going to make some switches. Happy-Cool could potentially over to Sombra, but it looks like they are sticking for the time being. Just going to go for a rotation through the left-hand side, take the high ground, and potentially try and make the jump over to the hut in the middle and take point there.
Could be advantageous for them to just have that forward operating base and the safety of the high ground that it's just rewarded to them by their pathing. The point is what they're aiming for here. They don't get on it, they're not going to win anything. Taking it slow for now, and Team Gigantti is split around. They're playing around it, and they've got the safety of the Mega in the back. They're not going to lose control of that one, so the supports can fall back there, keep themselves topped up. Danid is on top of that rooftop, and he's able to try and keep him off that attempt to come from a different angle.
Bocket's got his trans though. Zuppe doesn't have his as of yet, so you could see a big tempo Transcendence, but it looks like Bocket's just going to hold on for the time being. Maybe overestimating Davin's charge a little bit. Milky Man, he's coming towards his shatter. He has to make a big play. He has to turn this around in the series.
He's just being bullied though. Will catch him when they go for the attempt. He's pushed to the side so the charge won't come through. Transcendence keeps everyone up. There's the Graviton Surge. There might be a little bit of overlap here, but look at the self-destruct. It's open. The shield will protect them as well as the rest of the team who went down low for Hurricane. They're still struggling to get themselves onto this point, and a valiant hold. The shatter, he's just going to punish the charge coming out from Milky Man, but the stun will make sure the charge does not come in and take out the Zenyatta. Self-destruct over the top. Graviton Surge solo grabbing Davin to take him out of the fight, but it will pull in the supports afterwards. This is Hurricane's fight to take. It's their fight to lose on point A. They're going to go in and hopefully attack point B with close to 3 minutes on the time bank.
For Team Gigantti, they're looking at not much at the moment, but Sparker, he doesn't have his grab grab. Bocket does have the Transcendence, so Zuppe, he's looking a little bit good. So both teams are equal at the moment, but the main thing for me that I'm looking at is that Davin's been forced to use his bubbles so early in a lot of these fights that he's not able to give it to Facility or Milky Man so they can walk into the Graviton, bash the Reinhardt to get him out the way, to open it up for the self-destruct. So this is the major downfall, is that British Hurricane are so great at forcing things out early and then sustaining whilst inside the grab.
Milky Man gets a perfect pivot and finds that huge shadow to shut down Hurricane. The rally was already committed by Danet, so go for the one-for-one trade as well. That's big for Gigantti to remain in a position of strong economy.
We demanded something more from Milky Man, and he's starting to now just deliver, and he's delivering it at the prime time, maybe a little bit late, but it's when they need it, that's for sure. So it's 3-4 currently, 1 minute 56. 2 fights potentially remaining for both teams right now. British Hurricane, they're vying for control, but at the moment it does look like Davin has the significant advantage on the Zarya so far. And that's the major thing that is affecting, as expected, is affecting this matchup. British Hurricane no longer able to use that niche pick-through advantage because Team Gigantti seem to be a little more wise to it right now. Major thing coming in his next fight is Sparker with the grab, but Milky Man, they haven't seen him, he has a shatter.
He's got another shatter based off of just what happened last fight. He's able to drop that down again. Blocked out this time. It was not to be the same outcome as last time, but Gigantti still have tools in their arsenal to shut down the offensive from Hurricane. They're going to commit their rally now. Just come back to them already. Zappis locked up, not going down just yet. Now the DMEC comes in, has to force the self-destruct early. Will throw the Graviton out to lock up Numlock. There's the Transcendence coming in as they go for the counter grab as well. Bocket took out Zappis, who was DMEC there, and they're going to go for the shatter in the corner. They have to step forward to protect the facility, but that shield can't do enough for Sparker. Will find Milky Man, will find Lilbo, but Gigantti have done enough to force out another offensive by dropping the time back to sub 1 minute.
Yeah, this is going to tick up right now. Team Gigantti are not getting back onto it, but they've done their job. Like you say, Yofi, he has a sound barrier just in case people try and get back on the point, but it looks like it is the end of this point. It just at the moment is a little bit of stall tactics, so not too much going on, but you think of the overtime, they could potentially... oh my god, this is a long stall right now. I mean, they've secured themselves at least some extra time.
I mean, at that point, you know the point's lost, and you know you're still going to get another attempt once you get it below 1 minute. I guess the objective isn't necessarily to retake. Obviously, if you can, do it. Yeah. They're not going to scoff at that one.
Which will make it much easier for yourself.
Yeah, they've reduced that difference down to 27 seconds.
Could be all the difference.
That could be a fight. That could just be a fight for them, depending on how fast these ones are going to go on their first offensive. That could be big. It
could also mean that Team Gigantti now have a much better idea of how they want to defend this, and they don't have to worry about 2 fights where the second one includes ultimates, which seems to be where Team Gigantti have had the downfall a lot of times. British Hurricane able to capitalize on our ultimates a little bit better. But Team Gigantti, they're going to be rolling out with this, which does cost them a little bit of time, but British Hurricane will take a look at their composition as they are defending. They will have the vanilla GOATs composition here. I think Numlock has been a major factor in this, but also Daned. A lot of his bashes have been so good to open up some of the shatters from Numlock that have come through, and he's constantly in the front line. You don't see him die a lot, and that's unexpected for a Brigitte, because one faux pas of a shield bash can lead you being out in the open, and that's also your mobility tool, so it means you cannot get back to your team. So the fact that Daned has been so consistently, well, alive, is a great testament to his ability on this character.
Now the offensive comes out for Team Gigantti. Lesser time back means they go first. They're going to put Lilbo onto the Lucio as expected. Still Zappe on the Moira, but they're running it to Zenyatta. Could make it quite difficult for them. They also, the difference is Milky Man on that Winston. Nice early scouting from Daned. Going to get the third person peek just to see what's coming at them. Any surprises they might have to adapt to. Gigantti are just playing this so slow. They're going to have to do this in one as they change over to a traditional GOATs composition. They burnt through half of their own time back to make this call.
10% also for Numlock versus Milky Man. Could be the difference. A lot of time 10% is all it is towards the Earth Shatter. And if Numlock can get it early, that's big. Nice boot from Yofi to try and push Milky Man in, but Facility's down.
The bubbles were used so early to keep Davin and Milky Man up, and the ping comes in. British Hurricane are just going to sweep through Team Gigantti. If they can't get any progress here, Blank, they just lose the series off of the back of this now. British Hurricane, they're going to walk away with the series win and maintain their undefeated streak.
That's it. Zappis is going to touch it, but that's all for naught. Overtime ticking down. Lilbo's going to try and extend this one out for a little amount of time, but there's no way that Team Gigantti are taking this one. Dana gets chunked hugely. There's just not enough people on the point. Numlock's going to finish one up. And I think a lot of this came down to, again, it's that scared nature of Team Gigantti. They were very unsure of to walk in just because British Hurricane was sat on the bench in the other room. They were like, whoa, something's going on here. This is a little bit rowdy. I don't want to go in here. And just that time that they wasted doing that led to British Hurricane taking this point and the series, because this is now all that we can get is a draw or a win.
Got to play for the map difference still. There can be some shenanigans, obviously, because this map differential is going to be important moving into that final week. Gigantti, however, they've already dropped a series, so they pushed their scoreline to 4-2. Assuming Angry Titans win next week, Gigantti aren't in the race for that first round bye anymore.
No, and honestly, you might not think that getting the bye is huge, but let's just take a look at Stage 1 Overwatch League of this year. NYXL got taken out by Seoul Dynasty just in the quarterfinals. I mean, if they had got a bye through to semifinals, we might have seen a very, very different story come the actual finals that did come through. So Team Gigantti, they really did want this semifinals, but
you also get gifted a free scouting report in the form of the quarterfinals broadcast. You get to like sit there for an extra day and go, right, that's what they played yesterday. That's any changes.
We've checked out.
And when we're coming on to something as pivotal as the new patch, that's big to get the early information. And I don't think Gigantti can now clinch that position, even if they were to win their next week matchup.
Angry Titans and Hurricane have just performed so excellently this season of Contenders. It's crazy. And Team Gigantti, although they were touted as the best GOATS team of Europe last season, now they're looking a little bit shaky. It seems the British Hurricane, Angry Titans both have really upped their game.
Going to go into the offensive here from British Hurricane. They obviously still want to keep the map differential high. They want to make sure that they finish first seed, give themselves the best position, and they do that by taking the map difference and, of course, beating Angry Titans when it comes round, their final opponent of the regular group stage. But they still need to get through Gigantti here. There's Milky Man just going to be off to the side, drawing some attention. You've got Sparker up on the hut. Gigantti just don't have the Moira here, which is very hard to play against DPS-heavy composition.
Oh, he's
beautiful
a champion!
Shot onto Lilbo, just takes him out. And Sparker is just pointing these sights at the Mega. There's nothing they can do to shut it down as Milky Man throws his body at the point for one last valiant stall. Fosgar Industries conclusively goes over to British Hurricane, and I believe off the back of this scoreline, guarantee themselves a first round bye.
Gigantti looks so demoralized though, Tridd. That was not even really a defense from them after all. They just seem just to not understand what's really coming out from British Hurricane, and this is where British Hurricane excel. Now that they have this diverse tool of just hit scan players, of DPS comps that they can play, and now they also have raised the game of their free to a new level. It's so difficult for any team to go up against them because there are so many options available to them.
We're going to go for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring you our fourth and final map of the night. It could still be extremely explosive, so do not go anywhere. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders Europe, everybody, and it's 3-0 scoreline. Hurricane. This is reminiscent of the first time they played each other, which was back in Season 1 regular season. It was a 4-0 towards Hurricane, I believe, so we haven't seen dominance like that. It's coming full circle. Regular season, Season 1, except it's 2019 this time. With that, though, they do all, I'm pretty sure, guarantee themselves a first-round bye. They will, at least, because they're still undefeated, have a 6-1 series scoreline, which is going to be hard to beat, hard to contest from Gigantti, because they're now at 4-2. Obviously, they can go to a 5-2. They won't be able to get that 6th one, and it's all on AT tomorrow to decide whether it will be Gigantti still having hope of getting that first round bye.
Though a lot of teams say they are very afraid of AT, though. That although Hurricane, they're at the top right now, and we have seen some amazing games out of them. A lot of the teams that we asked, we say, oh, so which team are you most afraid of? They're always like, Angry Titans is terrifying. But I think people should be really looking at British Hurricane right now, because they're looking just as terrifying, if not more so, playing against Team Gigantti today. We go to Gibraltar. I'm interested why we don't see Sparker coming in again. Last time we did see Gibraltar with Hurricane, they did play Sparker. Unfortunately, got shut down by KSB fairly promptly. But it looks like Gibraltar's come over and starting to be more of this free map. It's weird, though, because Goats, in all, it very much loves to play on maps where there's little to no high ground. Gibraltar has a lot of verticality involved, and just getting to this position up here on the right side of your screen, which is known as blue box, that is the major position you want to take up. It gives you a lot of high ground advantage, but the rotations you have to take as a composition that has to walk on the floor, doesn't have any grapples or anything like that, can't climb walls, those often are very long rotations which are easily punishable. So I'll be interested to see how both these teams play at the moment. Looks like we are not going to see a Bastion from Team Gigantti. It seems to be the way you clear people out on the low ground, but doesn't seem like British Hurricane are holding that close. Until now, that is.
Yeah, it's just going to merge around the corner. They were waiting to effectively jump Team Gigantti as they walked around to go and get milk from the offie. And Suna just going to be holding the line here with that Zarya as expected. He's back in the roster. See if he can make sure that Sparker hasn't fully replaced him in the lineup by having a good performance on Gibraltar to close out the series. And they're holding Gigantti very firmly away from the payload. Milky Man just clinging to life with the help of his team, but will stay up in the back end of that. A rally from Facility matched by Daned already. So they're already committing on to this fight as Milky Man's about to get that Shadow online. If Hurricane aren't too careful, they just get shut down here massively. And there it is. It's just planted into the shield of Numlocked. And unfortunately, not going to get anywhere. Now it's Big Brain Barton's time. He hits it on the side and the shield blocks it out, but the Graviton Surge pulls them together. Transcendence obviously there to keep them all topped up, as Davin now has one to use, but he's going to be able to hold on to it because Gigantti are starting to take control of the fight. Hurricane burn a minute of the time bank doing that.
There was actually a bash that came through from Daned there, but no bomb that came out from Hafikool. So it's interesting that he decided to hold on to that one. Perhaps the aim of this is just to hold them for as long as possible on the first point, because they know inevitably at some point, just because of spawn advantage, they are going to get taken down. So perhaps that's a big brain move from Hafikool to hold on to the Diva Bomb for the next fight. Davin, obviously, he's got the Graviton, but Bucket can trans.
And that's exactly what happens. He's a bit of a seer as soon as been taken out by the charge of Milky Man. Cover is amply available for Team Gigantti to hide from that self-destruct. But British Hurricane, they're trying to run for cover, even with the help of a sound barrier, but it's not working. Team Gigantti, they're not very happy about losing Volskar and losing the series. They're really giving it to them this time.
Yeah, they are. And only took 2 minutes to get round here as well, especially with that very large first hold from them. The major thing for British Hurricane is that this is going to be one hell of an aggressive fight with the rally. Zupe's got Transcendence coming online. British Hurricane don't really have much, so they've decided to allow and give over point A and take a proactive position on point B instead. Suna is on the high ground, 50% towards his next Graviton, but Team Gigantti looking to follow forward this momentum into point B with that shatter. Milky Man, perhaps we see more of the stuff that we saw on Volskaya, where he was really raising his game.
Yeah, it's a bit of warm milk rather than ice cold as he just gets locked up there with a stun, pushed in the corner. They're trying to bully the main tank, but he's going to get back to safety. He has the mini to fall on as well as the rest of his team. but the momentum of the payload has been stopped, and it won't even get through the gate yet to even shut down. So these sight lines are still open to see where the pathing of Gigantti is indefinitely.
And for free, obviously, it walks on the floor, so there's only 3 chokes that they come through, and British Hurricane has sight lines of every single one of them.
And even the path in between them as well, which makes it so hard to catch him off guard. And the Shatter already shut down. Milky Man planting that one again into the shield of Numlocks. And Hurricane happily sit on ultimates until, of course, Davin pulls the trigger on a Graviton Surge, throws down his own Shatter. It's a beautiful counter. Self-destruct sitting down the front. They want to go and get the shield back. It's big. Nice bomb, Happy. Taking out multiple members of Gigantti. And this payload cannot allow this door to close.
Again, it's the fact that British Hurricane, they create so much pressure that Team Gigantti are forced out to use so many bubbles early on. And again, it's so easy for Zander just to get in there and bash and open it up for a huge bomb from Happy. Instead, they take the long way around. They know that we've got to find some kind of edge on the point, so we'll do this.
They're going to send in that self-destruct. They'll catch off Zander. He wasn't able to flick his shield in time. More concerned about getting into cover instead. Sooner will return a kill onto Milky Man. Transcendence coming out nice and early from Zappe, as Numlock will go down, and they'll try and keep Gigantti in this fight. Payload being contested. It's been stuck in this exact same spot, even walked back a little bit. But now Gigantti finally take the handbrake off and start pushing it forward with their own power.
Finally, that door can close. It's probably been wanting to close for quite a while. Like the guy on the telecom was like, can I close the door now, please? Now, British Hurricane was still around. Though, now there's a big race between Suna and Zappe. Suna's got a good head start here with his Graviton, and Zappe is desperately looking to get more charge towards Transcendence, because this fight could be easily lost if there's a well-placed grab that comes through. There's no Transcendence to block the damage. Potentially there's a good counter grab from Davin, but a lot of it rides here on Davin making sure he can get that counter grab through.
And a turtle is green, a hair is white, and you know how that old adage goes. It might be slow and steady for Gigantti to be able to win through this fight. Of course, they need to be careful that Suna doesn't got that grab early. Davin pulling that trigger extremely early. Suna's going to have his grab eaten up. Surprisingly, that's the first eaten one of the series coming in at a pivotal time to buy extra time for Zappe to get that Transcendence, which he does have online now, so fair enough. He got to the end of the finish line. They're going to have Milky Man trying to get that Shatter, finds him off to the side as they pivot. Numlock around to the side, and the charge is there beautifully. So a staggered start for Gigantti, but now they're starting to find their feet and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, and a lot of that came down to the really, really clutch eat in the middle of that fight. If that doesn't go through, then the rest of British Hurricane walk forward, and they just melt everyone inside the grab. Especially as you come through that small choke there, it's so easy to catch everyone off guard. Pretty much the entirety of the team takes a quick dip. Not a bad decision if you really
refresh themselves, splash themselves with water.
Splash the water in the face, get yourself all nice and clean and ready for the next fight. You want to look good for Team Gigantti. But the major thing there is that if you get stalled, obviously if we're looking more on an analytical perspective, if you get stalled there, you present so much ult charge towards Team Gigantti.
Vanilla Bomb still finds Lilbo. I'm not sure what he's doing. That spider monkey climbing up the walls, getting caught out there by a Happy Bomb. Falk is going to find Milky Man as well. 2 minutes in the time bank, and it's just being the same thing over and over again at every point, every starting point. British Hurricane take control of the payload. Gigantti then have to spend a minute and a half recontesting before they even get it back in motion.
Yeah, and this is great though. That one bomb secured them that fight, which gives them more time to build towards those ultimates. So Happy Claw so far coming up huge on the Diva, not only in the combinations, but also in the mid-fight as well as.
They're going to boot Milky Man into an unfavorable position. Turns out it's favorable as he goes for the charge. Nice lock up there, stops that from going through. Shatter to try and shut down the momentum, and Suna's lying on his back right now, unable to help out as the self-destruct goes up. They've already found Bocket. It's in the middle of multiple members. A double kill coming in for Zappis. Numlocked and Yofi. They've displaced the rest of Hurricane much faster than they have done in the past. But this is the closing minute of this fight, of this round for Gigantti.
And it's a 20 kill streak for Zappis. But look, the payload hasn't hardly even moved around the corner as of yet. It's insane. Like, this aggressive positioning from British Hurricane, I really dig it because it prevents so much movement. And despite you winning the fight, you don't gain that much advantage or control of the payload or the position.
Now they're trying to position themselves around British Hurricane, and that it's just being taken out by Milky Man. He's putting the team on his back now. think he may have heard us in the first 3 maps of this series, I mean, and now he's trying to show he's a main tank to be reckoned with, and they're just going to block like everyone standing in front of the door. They're not going to let him go out. They put the grab in the staircase as well to try and stop them from getting out. Gigantti will complete, and I believe they have a little bit left in the time bank as well, so they guaranteed themselves another attempt. Hopefully I'm correct on that one. Yep, 31 seconds. Bang, they get another attempt, even if Hurricane complete.
Yeah, Davin was like, we can't follow up on that, but neither can you, so just stay in there. Stay back. Stay back.
I preferred their strategy of just all clustering around the door frame and basically creating a very difficult game of Red Rover for them to try and get to the payload.
Yeah, a human shield. It's tough to get out. I mean, it's a coin flip there. Which place are they holding?
You chose poorly. Yeah, as they come out behind you.
Exactly. Whereas British Hurricane, so far they've chosen pretty wisely their routes and the way that they're holding onto the point itself. But this could have been such a massive time bank if British Hurricane hadn't have held so aggressively versus Team Gigantti. Gigantti look a lot more stable now on Gibraltar than they have done on previous maps so far. Though I feel like the map pool this week did kind of favor British Hurricane because it enabled a lot of different compositions, a lot of moments for Hafikul to pop off on these various different heroes that he somehow has mastered all of them. So Team Gigantti come into this with a little bit of a disadvantage because they don't really have any player on the team that can flex off massively other than Davin. He has a few like niche heroes in his pocket as well as the incredible McCree we do see a lot of, but he does tend to just play that free. British Hurricane, they're pulling out something a little bit different. Daned on the Bastion, and I think this is to basically prevent any close holds.
Soon as basically going, you get to play my Zarya, I get to play your Ashe. That's how this feels now. As he's already taken out Davin as well. And he's easily going to get Milky Man. No one can get him off the high ground. They're too busy distracted, trying to deal with Daned's Bastion and carrying away from that. It's just easy pickups. And the adaptation going to have to come in here from Gigantti because I don't think British Hurricane are going to change on their own.
Yeah, we got to remind ourselves that Suna actually, he is more than just a Zarya specialist.
A Zarya bot, he is more.
I do apologize. You seem to have proved us all wrong in this situation, so very nice. And Daned currently is still on the Bastion, and with such, like, there's only a few rotations you can make onto the payload, so Bastion could just cut through this composition.
He's not even on the payload. You have to make a decision. Do you rush him or take control of the objective? Instead of going to hide in this cover, so it does make it difficult for Daned to get anything done. He can only pick away people who opt into the fight, and Davin just going to walk forward onto Davin. The barrage comes out, has the same problem here, where it's not necessarily going to be able to get people unless they opt into damage like Milky Man did.
Yeah, he opted in for a bad time, basically, though. He came out of Car Wash into another Car Wash. So very, very unfortunate all in all, but British Hurricane, they do have to expend a lot of ultimates, DPS ultimates, to make that happen. So I think Team Gigantti can potentially get another defense here. Suna peppering them from the sidelines already. There's the bubble to Milky Man very early on, however, so that means an aggression can come out massively onto this team.
I like how Suna tried to get the shot on the dynamite there. He ended up just headshotting Facility anyway, whilst trying to get the damage out. And Danen's got this tank form. He's just able to just blast through them. So much damage coming out from Hurricane. And what a substantial time bank they've been rewarded because of it.
Hurricane just play everything. Like, you've got these Overwatch League teams with 12 members, and they siphon them in and out.
Hurricane can do it in 7.
We're just like, we only need 7. That's all we need. we have everything here. Like, come on, we don't need anything else. I just imagine this team with 12 members. They'd probably be able to play every single hero that was ever created.
Unbelievable if they could actually get away with that one. They typically stuck to 7, though. They even did that in Season 1 last time, but it was the supports that were rotating, not the DPS. Barrage going to find Davin, and Daned just sets up for Zappe to kill off. I'm not sure how he managed that one, but probably some kind of Pollitt grenade combo.
Which means that Hafikul can just continue to layer down these rockets, and it gives chance for Yofi to pull up Daned as well. Hafikul is really creating a lot of pressure here, and the fact that he doesn't die when he barrages means that he really has great understanding of the cooldowns on the side of Team Gigantti. This is just cleanup. Again, Team Gigantti trying to do the same thing that British Hurricane did, which is just die on the cart consistently over and over again. Basically suspend how much time and meterage they can get out of this payload. But now we do see Team Gigantti switch off. They want to flex some of the other heroes that they have in their pocket as well, as Facility goes over the Tracer, try and get into the back line, get that pulse bomb off onto Zander if he can find him. So far, Danner's been in some very odd positions for a Bastion.
And he's in a pretty standard position up on the bridge. It's fairly common for them to be able to get away with that one. One thing to note about Gigantti, if this was a usual dive composition, you'd see Davin on the Tracer and Facility on the Genji. That is the preferred rollout for them, but of course, Davin is the superior Sombra, I'm guessing, which forces Facility's hands onto another hero, which is why you end up with the Tracer Facility.
Oh my god, Milky Man just went really, really deep there. Actually found the pick onto Yofi, however, which means that a lot of that extra healing and damage that Yofi does give to Hafikool is now gone. They don't have a main tank anymore because Numlock did go down. A really good hack onto Bob shuts that down as well. As now British Hurricane might want to start think about switching things up.
Still have ults in the bag. They got tank form. They got a barrage in there as well. Could still get away with that one, but they did send out the Bob. He took a little bit of a nap because of the hack.
He did, yeah. Almost immediately then just died. Bob was like, wow, my time here was short and unpleasant. Goodbye.
Trying to think of the robot's name from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. God, just really depressed all the time.
Yeah. Basically it. Bob seems like a really happy guy, but at the moment, not at all. Not at all.
Soon is obviously going to be on that Zarya now, so he did change over, like you said. They expended the barrage and the tank form to get back into a GOATS composition. They've still got Bucket's Transcendence against Lulbo's Sound Barrier. Going to use it very aggressively because they know Davin won't have a grab of his own online because he's just made the switch as well. Sound Barrier comes out. There's the self-destruct over the top, onto the point. Still finds Sooner. Going to get one out of it. Milky Man follows up with another kill. Here comes Gigantti's stall. They've dug in their heels at the brink of checkpoint B, and they're going to hold Hurricane here for as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, Team Gigantti, they're doing a wonderful job. We've got to take note mostly of Lilbo at the moment because a lot of the engages coming through from British Hurricane are being stopped by Lilbo at the gates. There's some really great boots coming out from really good disengage as well as to get Gigantti into a more favorable position for them to fight British Hurricane. And Hurricane, they haven't quite had these ultimates online as well, as which have been the deciding factors of a lot of the fights when it comes to 3-3 between these teams. So Team Gigantti, they still hold the advantage when it comes to ult economy with how quickly they've been cleaning up these fights. But now it's now or never, basically, Tridd. If this fight goes poorly for British Hurricane, then ult economy will just get a bit out of control for Gigantti. The next fight will be very difficult for Hurricane.
If it goes poorly, make it fast. Shatter dropped onto the ground, and there's a Transcendence from Zappa to keep everyone up. Hafikool's been demeched on the back line. This is Gigantti's fight. Hurricane have to die fast if they want another attempt. 45 seconds remaining, and you might see Sooner being caught out on the catch here. He's going to go down. No, he's kept alive as he escapes around it. He's got a barrier to keep himself up, falling into the room. Now, if they can punish Gigantti with the respawns, then in this unfavorable position, they might be able to go in here fast. They got the grab, they got the bomb, and they're going to have a rally to juice them up as they go into it.
Yeah, Hurricane have got a massively aggressive ult bank right now. They can rally advantage into this fight, which gives them the initiative play. Team Gigantti, basically they have to hit a big graviton.
They just dropped it down from above, and Milky Man's taken out Danner straight away. Only a little bit of armor being gifted. The charges onto Facility as well. He'll go down. Self-destruct over the top from Hafikool. Soon even got the grab out on that one. And now they're going to send Zap's bomb into the mix. Trying to get it down. Shatter through the point. Will be blocked out by the shield. Hurricane are going to walk this one forward. They just need to clear Lilbo off and then get rid of Zappis as well. He's just going to stall for even longer and maybe burn even more of the time bank. I say that, but it's an overtime. There's nothing left to burn. Danner's even gone over to his patented Doomfist to get back to the point fast.
Yeah, that's a big fight for Team Gigantti as well, because although they were a little bit down in ultimates, because they take that proactive fight, it means that Hurricane have to invest a lot more than they might have wanted to. And we're only 1 minute 17 on the clock now, and this long winding path all the way to the finish of point C. Team Gigantti can really do something with this, and if they can take away the win here, that would be a nice consolation prize for them. But they have to do it to make sure it happens. So Gigantti, with these two support ultimates, they have to do well.
Shatter blocked out from Numlocked. Uncharacteristic from him, but they still find Milky Man in that fight. Double support ultimates online for Gigantti. They're using them very conservatively as another D-Mech comes in and a kill from the Flame Strike. Just wiping through them. They have to hold everything they've got for this final home stretch push, because that's exactly where Hurricane are.
Man, Danad has really impressed me today. Like the way he waits as well with the armor pack. A lot of teams would use their armor pack early and try and give that extra armor over to a tank, but not him. When you see Yofi being aggressed upon, quickly he turns around and prevents any of that momentum that's going onto his backline with a well-placed armor pack. But Team Gigantti right now, they have to pull all the stoppers out. It's a massive fight coming up. So many ultimates on either side. The grab bomb combo not quite available for Team Gigantti as of yet, so British Hurricane may be wanting to take this one fast.
Rally nice and early. Facility can't match it on that one. Already donated the armor. There's Graviton Surge. Self-destruct. I don't know where it's coming in. It's behind them because Zappa's had to get for a fast remake. They're already into the fight. Milky Man knocks the rest of British Hurricane on their backs and goes for the charge into Happy Cool. It's going to block out the bomb and hopefully stand there still as they all retreat back in. Milky Man still caught out by that one. They don't have the main tank, but they're keeping the payload exactly where it needs to be. This is all going to be done in overtime, so even if Hurricane completes, Gigantti will have the superior time bank. They've taken out Numlock. Sooner looking pretty unhealthy, but he's trying to get himself back up there as he drops down in HP, comes back up, and they're fighting around this gate, keeping Gigantti at bay with the choke. They're moving the payload forward. People are trying to get into contest, and finally they will as they grab off the point, but they've still got contestation going on. There's the Transcendence, D-Mech on the Happy Call as well, as Yofi's trying to get back in there. Hang on a minute, Team Gigantti is starting to get kills. Numlock's back on the Wrecking Ball to try and another fight, and Dam's going to throw down the Graviton Surge. Team Gigantti are going to deny British Hurricane and walk away with at least a map from this series.
It wasn't all roses for Hurricane in the end then. Team Gigantti managed to take the one map away from them, showing that there is still a bite in this team after all. But Hurricane, they will take the overall victory today. I think that last fight comes all down to Facility though. He basically, as soon as Milky Man dies, he's like, right, I've got to pop the rally. I'm going to come in the Reinhardt for this team now. And he actually just runs into the front line, a load of really good bashes, some amazing armor packs during the midst of that to keep members of his team alive. And he just put the pressure on. I don't think that British Hurricane were expecting such a massive counter-aggression from a team that had just lost their Reinhardt.
Amazing standing performance from him. He just goes, look at me. I'm the Reinhardt now. He just comes in there as expected. And Sparker, he didn't get as many maps as we often like to see him, but his performance on Ash on Volskaya Industries, very good as well. And it did kind of make me laugh when we saw Suna doing the exact same thing on Gibraltar. He's like, no, I'm going to play Ash now. And what, Sparker? Step up.
And what? But the major thing I did like about this composition they played with the Ash and the Sombra is that the way they would do it is that they would allow Team Gigantti to walk in and get close to the point, and then they would prevent the aggression by popping Bob into that specific position on the point where we saw him so many times, just off the left of your screen here. And then that would give even more time for Danad to basically get the Sombra ultimate online. Once that was, that they were effectively getting one fight Bob, one fight EMP, one fight Bob, one fight EMP, and doing that over and over again. It secured them a lot of time. So props to the backroom staff, whoever fought that one up. So
it's a combination of, I believe, Albion, Nox, and Renegats. It's one of the three, all of them. We don't know.
Or all of them, all the teams. I mean, a lot of coaches will try and facilitate their players, so potentially it's one of the players that came up with the strat as well. So really well played overall to British Hurricane. They bring a lot of interesting things to the table, and that's what we need. They're currently undefeated.
It is very fitting as well, because not only was this series a scoreline of 3-1, which is obviously quite surprising that Gigantti came back based on the performance of the early series, but they brought away the map. But now the overall head-to-heads of Hurricane and Gigantti throughout Contenders is also 3-1 in favor of Hurricane.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little coincidence there. Nice little metric coming in there. It's also what I predicted. I predicted 3-1 to cover myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
it was a double whammy. I knew this was going to happen. I read the script nice and early. It's a matchup that always entertains, and I believe it still did, despite being quite one-sided towards Hurricane. But as always, we try to get an interview here, so we grabbed Happy Cool from Hurricane to join us. And without drawing the ire of Monte Cristo, Happy, how are you feeling after beating Gigantti?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
really good.
There you go. An expected answer from that question, demonstrated.
Indeed. Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, mate. Fantastic bombs as well, obviously, as always. But one thing I was curious about, less about your diva this time around, was more about your Pharah. I noticed, especially on Volskaya, you went in and you were specifically using Barrage on Nano Milky Man when he came in there on the Winston. What's the kind of thought process between saving it for that?
It's just to save Buck.
Just to save Buck.
If we kill the monkey, then we just win the fight.
Oh,
okay.
Mostly.
Fair enough. This kind of
easy answer. Man.
Yeah,
easy answer. Javi, like we see you. So you play 4 heroes today. We've seen you play a lot more throughout the season as well as coming on to the next patch. Obviously, there is a few more heroes that have been buffed up. Are we going to see some more stuff out of you? Because at the moment you've got so many things to pull out the hat.
I don't know. I think Pharah is going to be super important, so I'll probably just play Pharah. Maybe some Tracer. We'll see.
Ooh, Tracer might be a good one to see out. This one.
Yeah.
And of course, you've got Angry Titans next week. They're the last team that stands in your way of being undefeated in this season. What do you think the biggest threat of Angry Titans is to your team?
Them inting, I think. They just int sometimes. But
That's a threat to you?
Not really. I think we're just better, so we're just going to int back and win, I think.
Okay.
Double the int to level it out. I like the strategy. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Happy Cool. Congratulations on your win, and good luck against AT next week.
Thanks.
There you have it. It was to save Bocket. I knew there would be some specific reason.
Yeah.
He often cost his life to do it. So they're like, we'll win the fight, but then we also lose Happy Cool for it, because both times he did that, he does it at very close proximity, obviously, to stop the mobility.